the Intercontinental Championship ladder match. This can go all sorts of ways. This is probably the most unpredictable match in the entire card, and there's a lot of people that you can pick here. I'm definitely of two minds on this, but the contestants include Daniel Bryan, Bad News Barrett, Dolph Ziggler, Dean Ambrose, Luke Harper, Stardust, and R-Truth. Yes, R-Truth is in this matchup too, but it is what it is. So, Arden, I will start with you. Who do you got for the Intercontinental Championship ladder match at WrestleMania on Sunday?
This is the part of the card that gets so hard to predict in terms of not only who do you pick to win, but why and how. I don't know about you guys, but it really feels that way for me. But for this match, I think about the belt, man, and I'm sorry to become, all nostalgic, but I just think about the Intercontinental Championship, and I remember just watching it when I first started watching this business and how much it meant. Like, that title used to mean whoever had it was about to be a top-tier player. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was about to be the next guy up. So just to see it become useless now and guys want to play around every week, I found it funny for the first couple times, but now I find it corny. I think if you really want to make it important again, if you really want to give it some value, if you really want people to care about it, I think Daniel Bryan needs to win this match. I mean, you could go in another direction in terms of maybe giving it to a young guy or making maybe Bad News Bear retain it, but I don't think nobody is taking the title serious enough. You give it to Daniel Bryan with where he is in his business today, people are going to care about the title once again. The Intercontinental Championship is going to be where it was in the early 2000s, where people cared about those matches when the late, great Chris Benoit and Eddie Guerrero and Kurt Angle and Chris Jericho used to compete for those titles, or when The Rock and Triple H and Stone Cold used to compete for that title back in the late 90s. We need these secondary titles to get back to where it was. So I believe that Daniel Bryan should win this match if you want that title to have any value again.
I absolutely agree. I think we can all agree here that the Intercontinental Championship has been so devalued, not in the only last couple months, but RJ and I tweeted this and you replied to it in regards to the last great Intercontinental Champion that elevated somebody was Randy Orton in 2004, over a decade ago. It's been mid-card galore ever since then, and I feel like this matchup may not do a lot to boost its prestige, especially after the build-up we've been getting. It's not been the best build for an Intercontinental title match at WrestleMania, but I feel like the match itself could very well deliver. Will the title mean something coming out of WrestleMania? Kind of depends on who holds it. It won't go, prestige. It won't mean something overnight if Daniel Bryan wins it, but it will kind of take those first steps in making it mean something again. But Daniel Bryan is who all the dirt sheets have in regarding to winning it, and it's going to mean something. John Cena winning the U.S. Championship simultaneously, so I could see that happening. So Arden, you've got Daniel Bryan here. RJ, you're up next. Who do you got?
I have to go with consensus. It has to be Daniel Bryan here. I think if you give it to anyone else, I think it's going to be the exact same as it was before. We've seen Ziggler have it and drop it. Harper's done the same. Ambrose barely defended the United States Championship, and he's lost the last couple months, so why would people really be that excited about Ambrose winning it? Stardust is Stardust. R-Truth doesn't even belong in the match. And Bad News Barrett hasn't won a match in, forever.
Booker T was asking the same
Exactly.
thing, yeah.
I think it has to be Daniel Bryan. I think it doesn't even matter how much prestige. It actually means something. Obviously, and it's something like Daniel Bryan, they won't have him booked to lose all the time.
Yeah, like Rusev.
Like Rusev. And I think Bryan holding it up to SummerSlam would be something that would be great for this title, because I think he could have great matches with Ambrose and all of them. I think he's obviously above the title. I think Ambrose is above the title too, but I'm not booking matches and making millions of dollars, so I can't really be saying what it is. But I think Bryan it's the consensus pick. I think it's the one that makes the most sense, and I don't think any other guy would really change the perspective of the IC title right now.
Well, it was you many months ago. Even before Bryan was even in this matchup, you said that he should win the IC championship, hold on to that belt for a long time, and then drop it, to like Rollins, who gives it up, whatever. I feel like that's what should happen with this belt. Whether exactly like that, but I feel like a lot of people are saying Cena Bryan 2 at SummerSlam for the mid-card titles. That would be insane. That's like a dream booking scenario. I don't see that happening, but would be incredible, though. So we got two Daniel Bryan picks. Mike, you're up next. Is it going to go 3-0 here with Daniel Bryan, or who do you got?
I mean, dark horse candidate. I can see Dean Ambrose winning the title, but RJ basically explained it pretty much perfectly. Just going down the list, R-Truth, I think they're just put him in the match because he's going to retire soon, and I don't know if he's ever been in a WrestleMania. So they want to give him that match before he goes. Stardust is not winning anything. Bad News Barrett has just been such an awful champion. I think if he wins, they could help him some, but he hasn't done anything. Luke Harper, probably, one of the worst Intercontinental champions in the past, 5 years. He had it for a month.
Hey. I like Luke Harper. Leave him alone.
Yeah, I like him too, but they just have ruined him, basically. But,
love the wife beater.
I don't know. We can get into a whole story about why they, break up the Wyatt family and stuff. I think that was so stupid. But anyways, Dolph, he's beaten Bryan the past 2 weeks. So, that basically, unfortunately, with the way WWE books things, that's basically guaranteeing that he's not going to win. And, I got to go with Daniel Bryan. I think, and you brought up a good point, Graham, with John Cena, possibly, most likely winning the U.S. title and Bryan winning the Intercontinental title, especially with Brock Lesnar re-signing. I think that Vince McMahon can confidently keep the title on Lesnar, and it's really not that big of a deal. The title hasn't really been there since SummerSlam regardless. But here's the difference. Is people don't care about, a Bad News Barrett holding it. People don't really care about, Dolph Ziggler, yes, but my point is, if Bryan is the IC title, fans are going to think that's the title. You can main event pay-per-views that Brock Lesnar's gone on with that title. We'll get into Cena in a second, but, Extreme Rules, you can main event a U.S. title match between Rusev and Cena if Brock Lesnar, doesn't show up to that. But I think that the fans love Bryan so much that he will elevate that title. The fans will elevate that title. And I think it's a missed opportunity, really, if he does not win on Sunday.
So with Daniel Bryan, I feel like we got 3 picks for Daniel. Oh, you wore your Daniel Bryan t-shirt. I didn't even notice that. But, I feel like Daniel Bryan has to win this matchup. He lost to Dolph Ziggler twice for some reason. I don't know why. They were great matches, good for Ziggler, but I think it was more about devaluing Bryan than it was elevating Ziggler after the whole turd chant. That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. But in terms of my pick here, going down the card just like you did, R-Truth, if they want to throw us a curve, if they want to ruin this WrestleMania, they'll have R-Truth win. But I feel like WWE isn't that dumb. I'm not going to put it past them, but you never know. Luke Harper, absolutely not. Stardust, if they were going to put the title on him to do a feud with Goldust, then why isn't Goldust in the match? It makes no sense. I think that feud is done, so Stardust is no. With Dolph Ziggler, there's a slight chance, but like you guys just said, he had reign after reign after reign, and we all thought he was going to reach that next level after it, and it didn't. Not because of him, but because of how they booked him. So I feel like, been there, done that 5 times already, so we don't need to see that again. So it comes down to Barrett, Bryan, and Ambrose, and of those 3, you're going to be surprised when I pick who I think is going to win. Bad News Barrett.
I knew you was gonna go with him.
Bad News Barrett. I'm not saying I want him to win. I love Bad News Barrett, but here's the thing though, because when he first came back, he had a lot of momentum. People were cheering when he faced Cesaro in the last Raw of last year. It was great, but they ruined the guy as champion. I think we all know that by now. But the story in the segment last night is what convinced me. When Kane was backstage with Barrett, he was like, "Oh, you're gonna have to go up against the odds. You're not gonna retain your title." And he's losing and losing and losing. Then he'll win at WrestleMania. I feel like that's where they're going with this. I don't want to see that happen because even if Barrett does win, it's not going to help him. It's not going to help the championship. They are far past beyond the point of repairing Bad News Barrett with that championship. So I don't want it to happen. Absolutely not. He's my last pick aside from R-Truth. But yeah, I got Bad News Barrett. I feel like Daniel Bryan should win. And I love you guys' scenarios and that you can main event Raws, pay-per-views, house shows with these guys, with Daniel Bryan and John Cena as mid-card champions. And Dean Ambrose, too, people have said, he was the one that started this whole thing. He has yet to win a pay-per-view match since, June of last year, which is ludicrous. But, I'm going to have to go with Bad News Barrett here because I feel like that's just the way that WWE books things. But the match itself, though, I think we can all agree, will be great. I feel like it can be really, really good. Hopefully it is not a train wreck, of just people just going at it, and that's all it is. I feel like they can tell a very solid story with the ladders involved.